Man, we got a lot of ground to cover. I accidentally forgot to do last week's review, right? So, like, I drop a YouTube video every week to do a weekly review. So, I forgot to do last week's review. And I'm going to do this week's review. And let me start out by saying I traded like ass, like trash the past 2 weeks. But the great part about it is that I managed my risk. Like I didn't really lose that much, so the risk factor kind of like kept me afloat, even though I was making a lot of trading errors, if that makes sense. So I'm going to go over all the trading errors that I committed, and then I'm going to talk about pretty much what I've done and what I'm currently doing to reinforce good habits. And I'm going to talk about the process as well, because now that I'm a little bit more of an experienced trader, I know how the process goes, right? Like I think a lot of people have this misconception that once you become like a mature trader or a profitable trader, that you won't mess up again, right? And that's not the case at all, because we're all human, right? We all have emotions. We're not going to trade like robots. We're going to continue to mess up. But as you get older, the recovery time gets quicker, right? So when I say recovery time, I'm talking about the emotional and mental turmoil and impact that you go through whenever you trade on tilt. Like when all your energy is drained, when you're just disgusted with yourself, you're just so disappointed, all that turmoil and trauma and tension that you have after, you know, tilting and just beating yourself up for it. That that takes a lot out of anybody. Okay. And as you become more of a mature trader, you learn to like finally let it go and forgive yourself and understand that you're going to be trading forever, right? This is a career. This isn't a quick come up that you're just going to do for 1 or 2 months and that's it. Like you're going to be trading forever. So this is just like a little drop in the bucket and you forgive yourself and you move on, right? And like I'm talking about truly move on. So when you become a mature trader, you start to realize like, and the best part about it, a lot of times you don't even go on tilt as much, right? Or nowhere near as much, if at all. And that's because you start to notice little telltale signs, right? Like for me, some of my signals are like, because I know myself so much, it's like my emotions. So I know that I take losses very well, right? So like if I look at the month of August, I had a 4 day losing streak, but overall I lost four, eight. I had 8 red days, which means I'm able to take a loss. And majority of these red days, I think this Red Day on the 19th was the only one that I lost my cool on live. I almost crashed out on this one because I was like, bro, why am I losing so much? And the reason why I got so upset is because at this moment, this was the lesson that I learned on this 4 day red streak is I didn't know my loss expectancy well enough. So I looked it up and I realized with my 50 to 60% win rate, depending on how I perform, and my 2R multiple, I am very likely to incur 5 losses in a row. Okay. So the fact that I went four in a row, that's within my system's expectancy, right? That's not an anomaly, but I didn't know that. So it caught me by surprise, therefore triggering, those emotions and, making me almost crash out. So you got to know your system's win rate and loss rate. So with that being said, I can lose up to 5 times. Like around that 6 to 7 time is very rare, and it should be. And I should not incur more than a 7 day losing streak. That should never happen. If that happens, there's some type of trading error. I'm doing something wrong, and I have that expectancy. But if you flip it on the other end, that also means it'll be very rare, if not ever, that I should really incur like a 7 day winning streak because it works on both ways, right? So going back to becoming a more mature trader is that when I start to get mad, me personally, I'm an angry trader. Like greed and anger goes, hand in hand. Like if you're more of a greedy trader, like you don't mind putting on risk to make a lot of money, then that and anger goes hand in hand. And if you're more of a fearful trader, where you're very hesitant on taking trades and you want to size down a lot and you're scared to lose and all that type of stuff, that goes with like a lot of like self doubt and a lot of sadness and beating yourself up and just crawling into a corner, right? So normally those type of signals, emotional signals, correlate with those type of traders. So for me, I'm more of a greedy trader, so I get a little bit upset. And because I was able to take 3 losses in a row and then a couple more losses here and here, and I was able to end the session in my right mind, that lets me know that's my normal, right? So when I incur a loss and I start getting pissed, that means I'm reaching some type of mental exhaustion because that's different from my normal. Like I know how to accept a loss. I've done it several times. So if I hit a day where I'm about to crash out over a loss, that just shows that I have some type of mental exhaustion and I need to voluntarily put myself into a recovery phase where I take a break instead of keep on going until the market makes me take a break, right? You don't want to go into forced recovery. You want to voluntarily put yourself in recovery, take a break, step away from the charts, and then come back to equilibrium, your level head, right? Because if you don't, you're going to keep on trading. And the thing about mental exhaustion is it's not like physical exhaustion, which we're used to. Okay. Like physical exhaustion, it's like shortness of breath, you're panting, hands over your head, like you're just tired, right? That's physical exhaustion. And that's the only type of exhaustion that we're familiar with. Where mental exhaustion is more so like I can't control my emotions anymore. My logical brain is shut down and now I can't see straight because I'm so emotional. I don't have any self-control because my emotions have taken over tilt, right? So a lot of your mental energy when you're trading is going towards, you know, kind of fending off your emotions and staying emotionally sound in the middle of a trade so you can make logical decisions that require a lot of mental energy. So when that mental energy goes down and you're mentally exhausted, those feelings start to come out, those emotions start to come out more and more. And that's how you can tell. So whenever that starts to happen, that's a sign, and you need to be more mature or mature enough to take a break away from the market for a couple of days. Okay. If not, you're going to keep on trading. You're going to go on tilt, experience emotional and mental turmoil. And then you're just going to like tilt, huge drawdown. And then you're going to be forced to take a break and be like, bro, I can't do this anymore. Like, oh my God, I just lost everything. I worked so hard. And you're going to either want to take a break or quit. Okay. Because you dug your mental energy into the ground. All right. So what I'm getting at after that long-winded answer is the fact that I was making a lot of trading errors the past 2 weeks, but I was able to recover and reinforce very, very, very quickly. Okay. So there is something that I tweeted that I kind of want to show you guys. Follow me on Twitter, by the way, LB the Investor. So this is what I said, right? Most traders spiral after mistakes. Use reinforcement control. Step one, release the error. Do not dwell. Okay. That's what I was talking about. Forgive yourself. If you mess up, you don't mess up every day. You didn't intend to mess up. You want the best for yourself, obviously. So don't beat yourself up. Whenever you have a red day, that's not the time to beat yourself up. I tell majority of my traders, if you have a red day, bro, like turn the energy around. Tip somebody very nicely like me. I'll tip my maid service. I'll tip my barber. If I go to the barber, I'll tip the door dasher. I'll order myself something very nice. Like make your red days a self-care day. Make it positive so you can turn that energy around. Don't beat yourself up and try to go harder and work even harder and all that type of stuff. Like, nah, bro, like just chill, you know? Step two, spot the cause. Was it fear or was it greed, for example? So this is very important because there's no point of going on tilt and losing a shit ton of money or blowing accounts if you're not going to learn from it. So figure out what happened in the market that triggered you, or figure out what actions you did. Like say, for example, if you sized up, and figure out what triggered you and why you did it, or why did it trigger you. And you got to journal this down and keep asking yourself why, until you find the fault in your belief. And then you'll be like, okay, well, I know that's not true. Let me go ahead and what's the right belief to have? And then from there, you take actionable steps to enforce those beliefs. Okay. And then step number 3, lock in with one clean trade to realign. Okay. This is what I did. Right. And a lot of times this 3-step process can take a very long time for beginners. But as you become more mature, it happens fairly quickly. Okay. And this is pretty much a good synopsis of like a recovery process. So lock in one clean trade to realign. So that's what I did, right? So I committed trading errors for the last week of August, and then I committed trading errors for most of the week of the first week of September. And as you can see, on the 4th, which was yesterday, I made $1,100. that made up for all the losses, right? From this week. Okay, so I wasn't even trying to win, and I don't want to like, I guess, pedestalize this as being a win or me making $1,100. That this day, I just made sure that I knew what I was doing these previous days, right, or these previous weeks, and I made it a point that Thursday or the following day was going to be the day that I don't care about making money. I don't care about the outcome. I want to execute my system to the best of my ability and be extremely patient and check off my system step by step and execute properly so I can reinforce those good habits, which I did. Today was a no trade day, right? And that's because we had an opening drive. And I know that I could take my setup if I wait a little bit longer, wait till the opening drive finish. Like we completely sold off today, and I could have possibly waited for the reversal, but it just wasn't worth the effort. We were still selling off like around 11 a.m. So I was just like, bro, I'm good. And I just took it as a no trade day. That's reinforcing that good habit so I can realign myself. Because the thing is, we're not used to letting go of mistakes and then focusing on the next opportunity. We just like beat a dead horse, bro. Like we just like really beat ourselves down to the ground, and you should not do that. So let's talk about my trading mistakes, right? So on the 25th, 26th, and the 28th, right? I was cutting my trades early. As you can see, all of my winners are between $800 all the way up to $1,200. So why is this winner 343? Why is this one 30? And why is this one 468? Because I was interrupting my trade. That is a trading error. For me, I do set it and forget it trades because interrupting my trades is a trading error. I set my stop loss, and then I set my take profit, and whatever hits hits. I cannot worry about the noise in the middle. The noise is the price action between your stop loss and take profit. There's a lot of contradicting signs that you're going to see. You're going to see reversal signs. You're going to see continuation signs. You're going to see bullish. You're going to see bearish. It's no point of trying to figure it out and stressing yourself and draining your mental energy, chasing every single tick. And every time you do that, chasing every tick, trying to figure out a way why this is about to be invalidated to get a reason to, interrupt your trade and micromanage your trade. The more you micromanage, the more mental energy that you're draining, and the more mental energy that you're draining, the more your emotions will seep out, and then you're going to wonder why you're on tilt and you're jumping in and out of trades when the very first trade was still valid, and it probably end up hitting your take profit. So, rant over. So, oh my bad. So what I was saying was I was pretty much interrupting my trades, cutting early because I experienced a fear of loss. Why else would you cut early, right? Fear of loss. I wasn't willing to lose, but I looked at the 25th and the 28th. If I would have let these two trades go to either my take profit or stop loss, they both would have hit my take profit, and each one of these would have been a $900 gainer each one. So it would have been $1,800. So I pretty much cheated myself by being scary, like being fearful. Excuse me. The 26th, that was going to be a break even either way. We chopped around for the rest of the day. It didn't hit my take profit nor stop loss. The 27th, that was a no trade day. I think I wasn't in the mental space to take a trade after 11:30 or something like that. The 29th, I took a $458 loss. I think this one was a natural loss, a normal loss. So I think I executed right, but it was just a normal loss. Going to the first week of September, I traded on Labor Day like a fucking degen, right? Like just an addict, bro. Like I didn't need to trade that day. But Top Step, they did take this $109 loss away because they cut my trade early. My trade would have actually been a green trade if they didn't cut it early. So they took this away and they didn't give me my profit. Crazy. Tuesday, super volatile day. I entered my trade with 3 contracts, 3 micros. That's it. But because it was so volatile and it's very tough for me to figure out how many points I'm risking, I pretty much risk way more than I normally do. Like my max risk is between like 400 and like 470. As you can see, I took a $536 loss. Okay. And I had the opportunity to size down, but I didn't want to because I didn't want this one trade to show up as 2 because I'm trying to do 2 trades per day. Okay. This trade on Wednesday was an impulsive trade. I finally broke my 1 trade a day rule on this day. And the reason why I did it is because like I said, I had a string of fuck ups for the past week and a half. I didn't take a break. I took an impulsive trade. It turned out to be a loser. And because it was impulsive, I saw my actual setup. And I was like, damn, here it is looking at me right in my face. So I took the trade, and that ended up being a probability based loss. But the beauty of it is that I knew what I was doing was wrong. So I met myself in the middle, and I made sure that I split the risk in half, making these two trades, which were both losers, only a $446 loss. So if you got to make a tough decision and you're about to do something you're not supposed to do, at least work with yourself to kind of like meet in the middle. At least like cut your risk or do some sprinkle a little bit of good in there. You know what I'm saying? So I was talking to my coach and I was telling her how I was pretty much committing trading errors for the past week and a half, and we made it a point that Thursday had to be the reinforcement, the realignment trading session where I have to really lock in. And so I did, and it worked out in my favor. And after these three losers, this one winner netted me a green week, $61.50. I'm rich. All right. And I didn't trade on Friday. So, which was today. So yeah, let's look over my stats for the past 2 weeks. I'm going to do August 25th to September 5th. Okay. So I took 9 trades. I made $444, right? I had a 44% win rate, 4 winners, 5 losers, profit factor of 1.29, which is absolutely horrid, right? 50% win rate, and this is 4 and 4. These normally reflect each other, but since I took that extra trade, my trade win percentage is down a little bit more. I have a 1.61 R multiple. Like, these stats are absolutely horrible. If you've been looking at my videos prior, you will see that I average a 2R. My profit factor is like a 2 point something. My win percentage is about 50 to 60%, something like that. But it just goes to show how one impulsive trade can change everything, and how important your mentality is, your mental edge, right? Like, making trading errors, this is crazy damage. And honestly, this isn't really that bad. I'm just a mature trader. So imagine people who aren't as mature, imagine what their stats look like due to the lack of a mental edge. My Zealous score is a fucking 22. That shit's ass, right? Even like this shit just don't, I mean, it's not bad, but it's not my norm. It's not my norm at all. Okay. So anyway, I'm not too hung up on all of these stats. I know how to get myself back aligned. And that's something everybody needs to know, is how to get themselves back on track. You got to learn yourself well enough. That is a mental edge, right? How do you get yourself back aligned? How do you get yourself back on track? Is it getting something good to eat? Is it being nice to others? Do whatever you need to do to get right in the mental space. And then if you're slipping up, take 1 to 2 sessions and make sure you execute your system flawlessly to reinforce those good habits, okay? Going back to the reinforcement control, release the error, don't dwell on it, forgive yourself, spot the cause. What triggered you? What did you do? And what did the market do? What price action happened? Like, go onto the charts, circle the price action that triggered you. And then if that's not the case, if it's not technical and it's all mental, figure out why you decided to over leverage, why you decided to overtrade, or whatever trading error you did. Cut your trades early, whatever it is. Figure out why you did it. What was the purpose? And identify those faulty beliefs, and then replace them with new beliefs, and then set daily goals in order to reinforce those new beliefs. The last one is lock in 1 clean trade to realign. The more clean trades you can lock in consecutively, the better off you are. So that is my review from August 25th to September 5th. I hope you guys found some value in this. And if you're looking for one-on-one coaching, go to strongtrading.com. The link will be in the bio. Also, if you are looking for group coaching where you can be with the community, we are doing weekly group coaching calls every single Monday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We have a sale going on for $127 for 4 sessions a month. That's killer. And you get a 2-week free trial as well. So that's 6 sessions for only $127. The link will be in the bio as well. And I'll see you guys on the next one.